The word flagship or the term flagship device is being used very loosely by most manufacturers, smartphone manufacturers, and tech reviewers and content creators alike. Because this, the OPPO Find X9 Pro, for the first time is actually, for me, a really complete device and a true flagship device because it just has everything you need that you're going to be able to use it for a long period of time without having to buy a new phone. It's just such an excellent device. Let's dive deeper into what this is all about. So as far as the design goes, it doesn't scream luxury. It's more of a quiet, minimalist luxury vibe with clean lines, and you have these rounded corners, and the most important buttons are placed within reach of your thumb on the right side. So I'm talking about the volume rocker, I'm talking about the power button, and even this camera dedicated camera button that's located on the side as well. It's just within reach, whether you're landscape or portrait mode when you're shooting. Yes, there's a camera bump on the back, but it also lets you quickly tuck your thumb underneath it. So you can rest your thumb underneath it when you're holding it, or your index finger, you can just rest it underneath it when you're holding the device. And even more so when you have it in landscape mode, you can also rest your index finger, the other one, just underneath that camera bump there. So it just makes it nice and comfortable, much easier to hold in hand when you're using it in various portraits or in various orientation rather. Over on the left side is what OPPO calls the snap key, and iPhone users might be familiar with something like this. And it's basically a quick function key that can be assigned to do different things like voice recording, flashlight, camera launch, and I use mine for just quickly taking screenshots, so I don't have to do the double press. It's just nice and easier just to press that in one go and I get my screenshot. Changing your snap key settings is very straightforward as well. You just have to go into snap key settings or the app, and then you can scroll across and select different options. So you got mind space, which I'll talk about briefly. It just means an AI space, which allows you to store different things like screenshots, audio, and so on. You got your sound and vibration, you got do not disturb, you got camera launch, you got torch, you got voice recorder if you want to quickly do that, you got translate as well, and you got screenshot, which is what I use mine for. So once you've selected what you want it to be, you just select set, and that's now what your snap key is going to do whenever you need to use it. So for example, when it's now set to the space, mind space, so that's now there, it's added to my mind space, I can select that, and you can see the kind of information that's been stored in that area. You can ask questions using AI. So this is all fueled by AI. So it makes it easy to navigate and almost like you're an LLM with your information, so you can search for it and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool that they've done that, and it's not something that I use, but if I was to be that kind of person that needs to keep track of what I'm up to, then that would be a really good tool to have on my smartphone. And if all that's not enough, we go back to that dedicated quick launch button for your camera functionality. So this one allows you to quickly double press to load up your camera, and also you can long press to continuously shoot if you want to shoot some shots. And also you can even zoom in and out in landscape mode by just sliding up and down as well. So really useful tool for those who wants to use that, you were used to doing those kind of manual camera shooting sort of style shutter button. That is going to be useful for you. The OPPO Find X9 Pro is one of the most durable devices out there. It's got all the IP ratings you can think of. So it's got IP66, it's got 68, it's got 6 to 9, which is kind of cool. So when it comes to things like water industrial assistant or high pressure sort of water jet flashing towards it or flushing towards it, you don't have to worry about anything because this can handle anything you throw at it. In terms of color options, this is available in silk white and titanium charcoal, which is this one here with this nice matte finishing on the back as well. It's nice and soft. And then when we look at the display, this is very detailed as well. So we're talking a display that's bright, it's 6.78 inch in size. It gives you 3,600 nits of peak outdoor brightness. We have 2160 Hertz PWM dimming, and also an integrated 3D ultrasonic fingerprint. So you just press it and it just unlocks straight away. Works every time with no issues at all. As part of that flagship experience, you also get 10-bit color depth. You get option to change your screen refresh because this allows for 1 to 120 Hertz LTPO refresh rate. We have Dolby Vision available as well, and HDR10 Plus is also there. All in all, you get 450 ppi and 100% DCI in terms of color accuracy. In reality, the display is just excellent and one of the best I've seen on a smartphone in a long time. And it's great for movies, gaming, and even editing your color accuracy dependent content on the go. Where this gets really juicy is when it comes to the camera because it's spectacular. OPPO's Hasselblad partnership continues here, which means we get that new pro level camera system. So we're talking 50 megapixel main camera at f1.5 aperture, and it uses Sony LYT-828 sensor, which offers 17 stops of dynamic range and ultra low noise performance. We get 50 megapixel ultra wide angle camera at f2.0 using that widely popular Samsung ISOCELL JN5 sensor, and a whopping 200 megapixel periscope lens is there as well. We're talking f2.1 aperture, and that's an ISOCELL HP5 sensor, delivering high resolution imagery and also 3 times optical zoom, and 6 times that's cropped down to 50 megapixel from a 200 megapixel, and you can push it even further if you really need to. A true color camera is also there as well at f2.4, and what this does is it makes sure that all the cameras there takes into account all kind of data when it comes to the ambient lighting and stuff when you're shooting, especially in low light, to ensure you get really good color accuracy across all the lenses. It's very smart if you ask me. It just takes that task away, or just ensures just that extra check to make sure color accuracy is on point. So what does all that actually mean? Well, the images are excellent with a strong use of computational photography, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Although at times I wish I could switch it off and just have what comes straight out of the lens and then do my own edits. But every photo you take on here has some sort of computational photography and some sort of AI that's doing some work to enhance each photo, but not that it's doing it overly or over the top that it ruins the pictures. OPPO uses something called Lumo Engine to ensure color accuracy, detail, and reduce noise. So whether you're shooting in great or not so great lighting conditions, photos still come out really good. In the camera app itself, there's so many features to go through and stuff that you can actually use in here. So if I scroll all the way here to the left, you got Master Shot, which allows you to take high resolution pictures. So you can shoot RAW. You can even shoot RAW Max as well, as you can see up top there. So you can change that as you wish. We go into video mode, allows you to do different things here as well. So you can do 0.6, 1x, 2, 3, and 6x. And then you can go even further if you really want to. But I think after 6x, you start to lose quality, in my opinion. You also have smart scenes as well. So you got things like stage and fireworks, and hopefully they'll release even more scenarios that you can shoot at. We look up top there, you got things like your 4K at up to 120 frames per second. So when it comes to those slow-mo footage that you want to get, you can get it in high resolution. What I really love here is they haven't overkilled it with shooting at 8K, because who's shooting at 8K on these anyway? So 4K 120, I think that's the maximum here, and I think that's more than enough for everyday use and anyone who's creating content out there. And then we go to photo. In photo, again, you can select 0.6, 1x, 2, 3, and 6x if you wish to do so. And then you got things like your action mode as well to make things even smoother. And this is already smooth in terms of shooting. Even with someone like me with shaky hands, you still get some really good steady shots at shooting on here. You got things like your smart scene there, recognition. So AI will recognize what you're shooting and then adjust accordingly to make sure you get the best shot from your camera. In the settings, we've got things like auto HDR, macro shots, and your timer, and so on and so forth, and also your aspect ratio. You can select all those things. You got portrait mode there as well. And then we go to Hasselblad. This is your high resolution Hasselblad mode, which gives it that color science from Hasselblad, and then you can shoot at 200 megapixel, for example, and that limits you to 0.6, 1x, and 3. And then you also have 4K motion photo as well, which means when you take photo, it creates a motion. So that way you can go back to the frame and select the frames that you actually want to use, all ones that you prefer, and it's still going to come up in 4K or like really high resolution, which I've used a couple of times for some bird shooting. And because the birds are flapping and moving so quickly, I was able to go back and select the frame that I really want to pick, that also showcases the action that I was trying to capture. And then we go to more right on the end. There's so much more here. You got Pro Video, you got Text Scanner, you got Dual View mode, you got Hasselblad, telephoto, teleconverter mode as well. But if you go to Pro Video, this is where you can shoot log. And I loved shooting log on this camera. I shot a few videos on here when I was in Mexico, and we shot some moving shots and everything, and then color grading it afterwards. It just looks really good. I'll put videos on the screen as I'm speaking about this, so you guys can see what that looked like. And if you want to see it for yourself, it's also on my Instagram account. So that's where I posted a couple of videos that I shot in log. And you can shoot that with at 4K and up to 120 frames per second as well. What's even cooler here is you got LUT preview. So here you can have your Rec 709 preview, or you can have your H-Log preview as well. So instead of just seeing that flat profile, you can actually see what you're shooting and preview it. So that way you know exactly what you're going to get when you start to color grade it and tweak things as you wish to do so. You can check for exposure and so on and so forth. If there's anything I wish they did in this mode is add an option to lock exposure, because when I start to add my ND filter, you start to notice that it just keeps adjusting the exposure to match the ND rather than let me just fully manually control everything and let me produce what I want to produce. If we go back to more, there's also option for the Hasselblad teleconverter. And that brings me to this little thing here. Let me just bring that closer. And this is a teleconverter that adds another 3.28x on top of that 3x that you can do optically on the camera itself. With that, you would need to get the kit, which will cost you extra, and it comes with this carbon fiber case here, which is, let me just get that to focus. It's got loads of fingerprints on it. But with that, you can easily just slide the lens on top of it. So let me just get that right. So you slide the lens on the case like so, and then once you slide it on, get the case on your phone, this will then magnify it even further so you can get really close to your subjects from afar. And this is great for even like portrait shots as well, and even works with videos. So if you want to shoot videos with this handheld, you can do that. It's nice and stable, and you also get tripod mount here as well. So you can hook that on, mount it on the tripod, and you can even get even more steady, sharper shots if you wish to do so. So having said all that, how are the shots that I've taken on this? Again, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, so I'll put some shots on the screen so you can see some examples of the kind of shots we were taking. The colors are so vibrant, and you know, taking those landscape photos. You got expand mode as well, so you can get even wider shots. You got a great level of warmth as well, especially in this kind of environment with the warm temperature. The skin tones are reproduced accurately as well. It looks really good. Even in low light, it's performed really well for photos and videos. Images are just surprisingly really good. I say surprisingly, but with all the tech and everything that's been added to this, I shouldn't be surprised really, but they come out really good. And the areas where you might see lower performance are in low light with the ultra wide and zooming beyond 6 times. So that's the kind of area you might see a lesser performance. But even in night mode, when you stick into night mode and you take some photos, it does some computational photography stuff there, you know, data management or whatever. And it tweaks the photos to make sure that everything looks really good without overkilling or making it too bright or too dark in areas. It just looks natural. Colors looked really good as well at nighttime. We shot Day of the Dead in Mexico, and you can see the colors and the costumes and stuff like that at nighttime. And in daytime, the colors look so good and vibrant, and it just makes it such a joy to use the camera on the Find X9 Pro. So I think they've smashed it there. They've done a really good job. And one of my favorite things is the fact that you can shoot videos handheld, whether with the teleconverter or not, and it looks really good as well. So that's a really good bonus, and that log profile shooting as well. So a really good job there when it comes to the camera. So having said all that though, how about the actual performance? Because at first, you might be skeptical about the fact that they haven't gone with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. They've gone with the latest MediaTek processor. But I'm telling you now, that MediaTek processor has done a great job at making sure that this works really nice and fluidly. I've had no hiccups with it, whether it's I'm gaming, whether it's I'm shooting at the same time, whether it's I'm running multiple apps in the background, transferring files, all that kind of stuff. It just manages it really well. Even Signal as well works great. There's no issues with my Wi-Fi connection, my data connectivity. I think they smashed it in that area as well. Picking that processing chip, I think, is a testament to MediaTek as to how far they've come and what they can actually achieve over time. And for a brand like OPPO to trust them with a flagship device, all marries together to give you a really good device that actually functions really well, and you're not going to regret buying one of these. Temperature's kept at bay as well, whether you're gaming or not. It's just nice and cool. It's not hot, it's not boiling or anything like that. The only time that happens is when you start charging it and you're doing stuff at the same time, you start to feel the temperature rise just a tad bit, but not annoyingly that it burns your hands or anything like that. And it doesn't end there either. You get a 16GB LPDDR5X RAM in here, and also 512GB of UFS 4.1 for this fast media transfer and storing all your data like iris photography. You'll be able to store all your big files on there without having to worry about anything at all. There's also that 7,500 mAh battery, which is insane. And it's been one of those phones that I've been trying to kill, in terms of, so to speak. I've been trying to kill the battery over 2 days, and it's just been impossible to kill the battery. The only time I've been able to do a day and a little bit is when I've been using this as a personal hotspot. But then I was also using it to charge my iPhone because the battery died on the iPhone Air. I was using this as a power bank to charge that phone. And that's the only time my battery has seen a drastic reduction in percentage in terms of being able to last me just a day and a bit rather than 2 days. And the other day when I came back from Mexico, took everything off there in terms of my SIM card and so on. I just left it in my bag, and I thought this would be dead like 3 days later, but I went in my bag and it's still 20% battery left in there, which to me is just magical. I don't know, the technology is just getting better and better. Now we can have a battery that size in this package which means you'll be able to enjoy your phone for longer, whether it's your gaming, you're watching movies, on your trips and stuff like that. It just takes that stress away in terms of worrying about needing to charge your device again. On top of that, you also get SuperVOOC charging, which is 80 watts, which means you can charge this up very quickly. I think like half an hour or so, 39 minutes, you'll be able to get this back to full battery. So on top of having big battery size, you're also able to charge this up very quickly. To charge wirelessly, it's 50 watts, and that's not bad either. Most flagship phones don't even have that. So having that level of fast charge is also a massive bonus. ColorOS 16 is also quickly becoming my favorite with a sleek look. You don't get many bloatware on there. You do get some apps that's pre-installed, but you can easily remove those. You get your typical Google apps as well. But other than that though, very easy to use, very easy to navigate. You can change things like your wallpaper, have 3D wallpaper. You can customize it in different ways. But one of the really cool tools that I found on here is that OConnect, which allows me to use this to transfer files all the way to things like my iOS, phone, my iPad, or I can transfer to my MacBook or even Windows PC wirelessly very quickly, just like you would with AirDrop on Apple ecosystem. And I think it's amazing. And between this and another OPPO Find X9 Pro, for example, you can easily just tap, slide across and transfer files between each other. I think it's pretty amazing and very slick, and that's one of my favorite features running on this. You have plenty of AI features as well, like editing photos and all that kind of stuff, but that's not something that I've explored because they're not really new, the stuff that we've been able to do for a while now. So, but that's there if you really need to do so, things like translate, things like writing text, all that kind of stuff. And then in photos, I can tap this, for example, hit edit, and then you got AI editor. So when you click AI editor, you got things like AI recognize, recompose, you got AI eraser, AI relight for portrait shots, perfect shots, enhance clarity, on blur, remove reflections. Remove reflection is actually really good and it works really well. So you can play around with some of this AI editor feature to enhance your photo if you want to do that, but it's not something that I really use. But all that stuff is there for you to use if you fancy editing your photo using AI. But overall though, I think this is a fantastic device and it's something that I would definitely recommend, and I'm going to daily this for a while until something else comes along that potentially might beat that camera performance. I've got a couple of devices coming up for review, like the Vivo and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to reviewing those to see how that performs against this, because this kind of have stepped up the benchmark in what I now expect from my smartphone. But over to you, let me know what you think. Drop your questions in the comments below, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.